Hello, everyone. Welcome to Globe's Evaluation Working Group webinar. Today, we're going to share approximately 50 slides that goes through some of the information defining the work. The webinar will demonstrate based on previous year's work with the International Working Group on evaluation as part of the Globe program. What do we do in Globe? And why do we evaluate? So the purpose of the group is to connect with the Globe community, both current members and new members, to explain the program, its impacts on its participants, but specifically looking at the evaluation tools and resources available to help build and support experiences with scientists, educators, and students that implement the program in their different areas. This good-looking crew that you see in front of you is the International Working Group for the current year, which is 2018, and represents all areas of the world. And we've been working together for some time now. Some are new members, and some others have been on for the last couple of years. So the next couple of slides we're going to share with you highlight the work that's been done over the past couple of years with the International Working Group on Evaluation. First is the teacher survey. This is a survey that was sent out to cover the 2015-16 year and asked the Globe teachers around the world certain questions based on their work with the program. The report includes many different areas. First of all, looking at the status of the program at schools around the world, the successes, the barriers, and the challenges. We also asked for input on valuable aspects of the program, how the curriculum was incorporated within their school pedagogy, and different evaluation tools that were used. We also looked for input from the Globe teacher community around what outcomes they were looking for, what supports they needed to better implement the program, also to better assess the effectiveness of the program in their area. We were able to also capture certain demographic data about the teachers who responded to this survey. We've chosen a couple of representative questions that reflect some of the input provided by the teachers. First was question 8, which asked the teachers, what barriers, challenges do you experience in implementing Globe? And if you look at the bar graph, you'll see that we had a couple of answers that stood out. First of all, the teachers stated that insufficient time and also funding and equipment materials were the two major barriers or challenges they found within their work. They also identified the difficulty in uploading the data. And I should say that this is a survey that was sent out in 2015-16, and Globe has been working very hard with Raytheon to develop a very, very slick process for students and teachers to upload data, not only through the website, but also through web apps that have been very, very successful and I think are addressing some of those concerns. Question 11, do you use evaluation tools to assess student learning and Globe implementation in your school? It was a well-answered question, and we had sort of a split, but the majority, over 50%, responded positively, which means that in some way they're using evaluation tools within the implementation of the Globe program. Question 12, we look for sort of granularity within the answer of that question. So based on question 11, the follow-up was, if yes, what types of evaluation tools do they use? And so you'll see in the responses, again, as per the bar graph, probably the highest response was through rubrics for scoring projects or performance tasks, which were scored by the teacher. Also, at the end of an assignment or unit assessments of learning. We also saw a response on questionnaires and pre and post science tests. So many different ways evaluation is being incorporated into the educational programs as applied by the GLOBE program in the schools. Question 13 asks the teachers, what kinds of outcomes do you want to be able to measure or document? And there was one answer that sort of stood out compared to the others, and that they said they would like to be able to report outcomes that are related to the students' interest in science. This was significantly higher compared to others. So this was about 60% of the respondents responded to that, whereas others chose academic outcomes, and the others looked at the outcomes such as impacts on school culture, student projects, the results of those and how they impact their use in other ways, and also new collaborations. Lastly, teachers talked about the behavior. Students' behavior, attendance, social and emotional skills was the next popular answer, and I think very important. We had a lot of really interesting and varied responses to this, and I think it's we've learned a lot as a group based on the specifics to this question. Question 14. Do you report or want to report any information about your work to any individuals or organizations? So majority, 72%, responded yes. They would want to report or do report information about the work. And so that, as an evaluation working group, we talked a lot about, well, how do we support teachers in doing so? And we'll speak a little bit about some of the work we've done to respond to this question and others to assist teachers in being able to report, identify, and share the evaluation responses in the GLOBE program. Question 17, what other outcomes have you seen? Please describe. And so the largest response was greater commitment, responsibility, and awareness of students with GLOBE and environmental problems, which is a huge piece as we move our focus in GLOBE towards citizen science. We're seeing tremendous response within the GLOBE program around the impact of these programs on our students, not just in their academic performance in the school year, but also that responsibility, that ethical responsibility they have as part of a larger community. We also saw responses about collaborative work amongst students, amongst teachers, and between them, which improves, teachers identified that improves the teacher-student relationship, which we know as educators is extremely important. Another is a positive change in attitude towards science. We see a lot of initiatives in different countries around the world on how to support science, specifically in the STEM, and also gender-related, how to support girls in science. And I think this is an important component to the GLOBE program, and a lot of opportunities that lie ahead of us. Another response that got 17 responses was strengthens the formulation of questions, pre and post investigation, the research capacity, and develops critical thinking. And so we really appreciate the responses to this question. I'm always interested to find some of the negative comments, and you see at the bottom of the slide, no motivational rewards for teachers nor students from the program. The teacher can't use it in the classroom. So this identified that we still have work within the GLOBE program to engage the community and find ways to do so. And I think if you see some of the opportunities that GLOBE has provided in the last couple of years, it responds to some of those key responses. Question 19, please select the types of supports that would be useful to assess your program's effectiveness. And so 45% responded, or 40% of the responses talked about the teacher's role or responsibility. Teachers wanted to support and guidance in the program evaluation. Also, student assessments of learning. We know this is a moving target in education as we look at different forms of authentic assessment, and I think GLOBE has an opportunity to be involved in that conversation. Teachers designated that they need supports in other ways, and so we value the responses as part of that teacher survey. Now, next component is our contribution in the GLOBE community regarding the annual survey. It was provided and prepared by Valerie Williams. Dr. Williams is a senior program evaluator with the GLOBE program at UCAR Community Programs. Some of the questions that we provided as part of that survey are, do you have information on the evaluation tools being used in the GLOBE area schools that assess the quality of the GLOBE program, such as program implementation and student impact? If so, please describe. Another question we ask is, do you know of successful teacher-educator practices utilizing GLOBE materials in your GLOBE area schools? Again, if so, please describe. Question 25 is, do you experience any barriers or challenges to implementing the GLOBE program? Please describe. And please describe how GLOBE can best support you in communicating program practices, outcomes, challenges, and benefits. And you'll see from these questions, they're built upon the responses we received from the teachers in the 2015 survey, and now following up on how to best support and identify those key successes, but also challenges that we're facing within the program. We also, as the International Working Group on Evaluation, want to align our work with the new strategic plan that is just been released and shared with the GLOBE community. Dr. Williams has provided an overview of the strategic plan, and I'm going to share some of her slides that identify some of those key performance measures. So the strategic plan can be divided into certain areas. First of all, what is the GLOBE program? Its vision, mission, strategic priorities. Also going over the GLOBE program organizational structure. So we have different components to that structure. The program office, the implementation office. Then we go to the regions and the regional coordination offices. We have our GLOBE partners around the world and also the GLOBE community. The GLOBE program operational structure is described in detail and specific to our work, goals, and performance measures. The performance measures will be used to monitor progress towards those goals identified. And so some of those measures were developed to last and ensure that the most meaningful things are measured. They're not always the easiest. Proxy measures can be used until better measures are developed. And where possible, data collected from the annual survey are used to help determine targets and baseline moving forward. Measures will help assess and understand the program's impact. So some of the focus areas, I'll just quickly go over them, and I encourage the reader to follow as we go. First focus area is materials and resources. And so one of the goals is GLOBE materials and educational resources are accessible and useful to the GLOBE community in the diverse environments that they exist. And you'll see within that, we've identified specific performance measures. So percentage of GLOBE community members reporting that they access the materials, and then rating the usefulness of those materials. And you'll see the percentages as baseline numbers, where we have 49% majority are using the GLOBE website. And you'll see where those performance targets are by the year 2022. We'd like to increase to 60% on the GLOBE website, 35% for science data entry, and 25% data visualization. Another focus area is professional development, a key component to working with our teachers and educators around the world to support their work in GLOBE. And one of the goals associated with this focus area is GLOBE's capacity to deliver high quality professional learning experiences, trainings has increased. And I've been part of GLOBE, very fortunate for many, many years, and I've seen the valuable work that's been done by GLOBE staff at the GIO and around the world in their communities to support teachers, be it through person-to-person training and workshops in different countries, to at our annual meetings, and also now through things like webinars, and also some of the web applications that are supported within the website. Performance measures that are identified in this focus area: number of GLOBE trainers available by region, number of e-trained teachers available, number of teacher training workshops, and the rating quality of those workshops. You'll see the current baseline numbers for GLOBE trainers, and obviously those performance targets are higher for 2022, where we look at increasing in all country, areas around the world, the amount of trainers and their capacity. Other focus areas, student investigations. So a goal within student investigations, and students develop high quality STEM investigations of Earth systems phenomena from a local to global scale perspective. Again, you'll see performance measures of number of students developing STEM investigations, the average score of rating of student investigations, using the rubrics, and the different data sources that will be utilized. You'll see the baseline numbers of those student projects. We see a large percentage that's happening, obviously, in the larger continents, be it Europe, Eurasia, North America, but also you're seeing, we've got projects happening in Africa, a large percentage in Asia and Pacific, and other parts of the world. You'll see with the performance targets that, again, we're looking at a significant increase in those investigations of Earth systems phenomena. Now, another project that the Evaluation Working Group has developed in response to the teacher survey and other inputs that we provided by other components of the GLOBE program is a one-pager for funders. One of the things that we heard back from the community was obviously the lack of resources to be able to support the work that teachers and educators, scientists wanted to do within the program and in their own specific contexts in their communities. And so we developed a one-pager that provides the benefits that students gain based on research and also demographics that educators, principals, teachers, community members, scientists can utilize to provide to different community supports to make the case, essentially, to have supports. It can run from as simple as that teacher in their school wanting to get approval to take their students to a certain area or even the back of the school to do GLOBE investigations, to companies or community NGOs that can provide not only funding but other resources and supports to run larger programs that utilize GLOBE over a longitudinal period of time. And what we hope will happen is this will assist the GLOBE educators and community to take that next step and seek supports within their community that will help provide sort of an overview of the value of the GLOBE program so that they can engage without spending time seeking out funding or creating new funding applications that we know, all of us within the community, is an essential part of the GLOBE program. Here we're going to speak a little bit about the New Haven opportunity as part of the 2017 annual meeting. We were in New Haven, Connecticut, a beautiful spot in the world, and where we conducted our annual meeting and also did a variety of training sessions for educators. And they incorporated atmosphere, hydrology, soils, land cover, and mosquito protocol at 3 different sites. Like many things arise, we were at the annual meeting and the Evaluation Working Group was approached to develop an evaluation process to monitor and respond to the experiences of those training sessions. The Evaluation Working Group, we're a keen group. We saw the opportunity to garner feedback from the diverse audience that was at the annual meeting. And so we put together a set of questions and a survey to ask all of the participants who participated in the different sites and the training sessions. The 3 sites were Cove River, which incorporated hydrology, biosphere, atmosphere, and soils; Hammanesset, which is hydrology, atmosphere, intertidal transects; and the campus site, which incorporated hydrology, atmosphere, soils, and mosquitoes. The survey questions. At each site, they were asked these questions. How many times have you conducted this protocol before today? Did you do the e-training module before this workshop? Circle the protocol that you felt was more engaging to you. Describe where you felt it was engaging. What did you learn from it? Were you able to successfully use the instruments? Please describe the challenges associated with the protocols you conducted today. And finally, what suggestions do you have to improve the protocols you conducted today? Some interesting results that arise from the survey. 99 people joined the trainings and responded through survey. First time the participants practiced a protocol. 12 participants, it was their first time with soils, 13 in atmosphere, 8 in biosphere, 16 in hydrology, and 26 in mosquito larvae. So that was a big protocol that was new to many of them. Completing the e-training modules before coming to the training. So 22 participants in hydrosphere, 24 for biosphere, 9 for soils, 18 for mosquito larvae. So that told us a little bit about what e-training modules were used and the interest that the community showed in those modules. And then the protocol that the respondents felt was most engaging. The hydrology protocol was not selected as the most favorite in any of the sites. 8 participants stated that the atmosphere ones were the most engaging. 7 responded that the soils were for them, and 17 people felt the mosquito was the most engaging. There was only 1 response for biosphere. The majority of participants stated that they were able to successfully use the instruments. Only 5 said they were not at the Hamana set, as the instruments for hydrology was not working properly. 1 for campus and 1 for Cove River site. Things they liked or learned from the process. Learned about some of the general pieces of science, education, and life from all the protocols. Obviously, the mosquito protocol was a highlight. The different components of collecting samples to larvae identification, collecting data, the cell phone habitat mapper app, using hand lenses. This is identified for many of the participants. With hydrology, using the instruments and the terminology used, how water impacts life, the importance of calibration, as I was participating in that, and that was an issue that is with many instruments is the importance of calibration. Atmosphere protocols, important protocol for teachers, trainers, and students. It does identify it as triggering scientific knowledge and analytical skills. The Cloud Observer app was a good tool, and participants identified they had fun working with it. With respect to biosphere, the sites were very interesting, and people appreciated the history and knowledge provided by the trainers. And soil protocols were very interesting and well explained by the trainers. Summing up the challenges met during the training session. Some of the general responses were more time needed to implement each protocol in each area. It wasn't always easy to use the phone app. We're often in areas where cover provided difficulties getting access. The data sheets were not always aligned with the phone app, and it was very, very hot while we were down in Connecticut. Some areas did not have shade, and so the screens for cell phones was difficult to see. With respect to hydrology, not a lot of background was given beforehand. The vernier was hard to use outside. Some of the probes did not work, which you identified in the previous slide. Cost of automated probe was quite high, and so for some of the participants, they didn't see the applicability in their certain cases. Too much time was spent on measurements, not enough time on calibration, and found some of the organizational pieces within hydrology needed to be better addressed. With respect to mosquito, there were no mosquitoes to sample. That's an issue. Shortage of devices for this protocol. The sampling field guide instructions were a bit confusing. Should identify that this protocol was new for many people. Difficult to identify larvae. The photos were not labeled on the Globe Observer app. Trainees could see the display because there was no shade, couldn't see the display because there's no shade, and couldn't figure out how to zoom in. And I should mention that I believe this with the app and the protocol are relatively new, and so a lot of these training sessions not only are for the participant, but also for the developers of the app, and to test the applications as they develop over time with the community. Atmosphere. Cove River site was not appropriate to observe the sky. So time could have been used for other protocols. And lastly, soil. The field guide was a bit confusing, not clear on the app for soil characterization. The soil screen was missing. Again, some of the organizational pieces could be improved within that session. Oh, and now we get to our most recent and up-and-coming annual meeting in beautiful Killarney, Ireland. home of our director of Globe. Many people are excited. We're about a week away as I go through this webinar. It will be happening on the 1st to the 6th of July with a very, very engaged and extensive GLE, Global Learning Expedition, with over 400 students coming to Ireland to participate from, I believe, over 40 countries. So everyone is very excited. Part of our work as the Evaluation Working Group is to develop surveys for this opportunity. The purpose of the survey, to understand how the meeting was perceived by the different participants from around the world, to provide feedback for the GIO. This is the 22nd annual meeting, and obviously every year looking to improve the experience to help align to the needs of the Globe stakeholders, and respond to the participants, be it the ones who are at the meetings, but also who provide feedback from their different regions. To also understand the students' needs and interests and how we can better support them, to bring them together, to develop community as they're coming from all parts of the world in different backgrounds, cultures, and interests. And again, to acquire feedback and disseminate the respective information to GIO's different groups that work to organize the meetings. It's a huge event with many different moving parts, and so the more information, the better. The different surveys that we'll participate in. The first is the Professional Development Survey. We'll go to the next slide. And the General Participant Survey looks at the overall experience of not only the annual meeting, but also the different activities that happen around the GLE. They're over the span of 6 days. Students, scientists, teachers, members of the Globe community, close and far away, will interact through different sessions, presentations, training opportunities. And so this general participant survey covers essentially the breadth of those experiences, from the opening meetings to the keynotes, all the way to the wrap-up sessions. And so we look to get input on their experiences, what was of interest, but also areas for improvement. And what we've done with this survey is we've continued a similar format that's been given to participants in previous years. The Professional Development Survey specifically looks at those training sessions. So the professional development opportunities that happen over their time in Killarney, Ireland, will be covering the different areas at different sites. The participants will be able to provide their input on the training. The area is very similar to what we did at New Haven, Connecticut, so that we can improve. And so what we've learned from the previous sessions in previous years, we've implemented hopefully to improve the experience for the participants, so that they have a greater breadth of knowledge as they take these protocols and opportunities to their own communities as trainers. Students Experience Survey. So like I said, we've got over 400 students who are going to be participating in multiple sites. I believe there's 4 different sites in Killarney, Ireland, and going through different protocols, investigations with leaders that bring together smaller cohorts from different countries. And so we're looking to get their input based on their background and age. And there's going to be a sort of a breadth of age groups together. So we're very excited to hear their input, because ultimately this program is a student-based program. And so it is our opportunity as Evaluation Working Group to capture their voices through this process and also share it to improve the program going forward. Why do we do all this? Why do we evaluate? These are great questions. This is a great quote by Margaret Floyd, who says, "Evaluation is a scary word. My experience has been that as soon as you use that word, people get their backs up and feel like they are going to be evaluated and hence judged. It gets personal very easily." And I think any educator or researcher who does evaluation, we acknowledge the importance of it, but also acknowledge some of the impacts that it can have on the participants. And with that being said, as captured in that quote, we take our job very seriously, and we consider how we provide these evaluation opportunities and how they're used. It's a complex process that requires planning, people expertise, skills, time, resources, and like always, funds. So how can Globe benefit from an evaluation process? We've got a really keen group to support these activities, and the Globe needs to know what to expect from those Globe activities. Who benefits from those experiences? We want to gather the right information, not just information, but targeted information that helps us reach our goals. How do we improve those Globe activities based on specific information gathered? And how do we maximize the positive influences, success stories, and also overcome those barriers and challenges that our community encounters on a daily basis? We want to be able to communicate plans and achievement more clearly. We get caught up often in our work. How do we promote the Globe program and share what we're doing? Gain knowledge and experience and ideas from the people around the world. We are truly a global community, and even with technology, it can be difficult to garner all the information and share it with the community, and we see ourselves as part of that. We want to be able to support the necessary stakeholders who are involved in different capacities within this program, and provide accurate and convincing information to support on the ground those who are doing Globe work in schools, in other educational opportunities, so that they can maximize the supports and resources available. To define our objectives, we want to have well-established outcomes within Globe. We have 22 years of measurements. We want to see the impact so that we can document and share that with the community around attitudes of students, teachers, and community members, the skills of our students and teachers, the interest of the students, those science career choices that ultimately are influenced by their experiences in the school and hopefully with Globe specifically. The awareness of the environment, as Globe focuses on the environment and effects of changes on climate. We want to be able to see how this type of work affects our students and their choices, not only in schools and their careers, but also the choices that they make in their life. Are the objectives SMART? So many of you will know the SMART components, which are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and obviously time-bound. Like any good opportunity, we need to have a plan. And so that starts with identification of the opportunity. What are we looking for? We need to capture the information, that data. We want to analyze it, and we want to disseminate it. With that dissemination, hopefully that will result in the utilization of that information, and that recursive cycle comes back to assessment, and we start back again. And this is a very important but simple plan that we use to identify our opportunities within Globe as an evaluation working group, and we hope the participants do so with our supports. What can we achieve for Globe in the long term? We're looking for a continual cycle of improvement for Globe that includes many different processes: design, preparation, evaluation, and redesign. We want to be able to share results that are grounded in practical, real-world contexts that respond to different ages, curriculum, and place, and encourage those practical experiences out of doors for students. We see a real push, a momentum towards supporting our students in experiential and place-based opportunities. We've seen the benefits of our students being able to engage in the theory as they're utilizing the practical experiences within not only their classroom, but in the field sites. We want to be able to support that creativity in the learning experiences that are hands-on and learner-centered. This is a cooperative context that we know our students are in. And so how do we support that through evaluation based on specific information provided us by the community? And lastly, an understanding of the Globe's past, a sense of the present, and a very positive and engaged vision for the future. We're looking for a commitment by our community so that we can grow the program as we engage with the myriad of issues, be it political, economic, social, cultural, that afflict and engage our participants around the world. Ultimately, evaluation can contribute to having a credible, reputable, and based on solid facts that support an environmental program. So what we're looking for as an an evaluation working group, that existing student assessments and program evaluation tools will be shared with other members of the GLOBE community. We want to capture and share existing data that our partners possess from their studies on the program effectiveness. So we want to be able to show the benefits. We know the benefits. A lot of it has been anecdotal. We have, and I will share in the next couple of slides, specific research opportunities that have been published that show without a doubt the impact GLOBE program has on students and communities in many different ways. We want to have a larger bank of those, and we want to be able to share the emerging research that's resulting from the work that's being done. Short-term results, the students gain in learning, the interest, motivation, and outcomes, but then the longitudinal studies that look at the impact it has on graduation rates, the entrance into post-secondary, and also the careers and what they choose in their lives as they move forward. So I'll just share a couple of examples of some of the research based on evaluation of the GLOBE program. And so it's a new article that was published, the benefits of the GLOBE program for the development of inquiry competence in the Czech and Slovak context, which was published about 2 years ago. GLOBE in Czech Republic, a program evaluation in 2011. This was an evaluation that explored the implementation of the program in schools and its impact on research skills specifically. It was 466 students that ranged from 28 different schools, the age of 13, who participated in this research program. The Costa Rica GLOBE project as a learning science experiment that was published in the Journal of Science, Education, and Technology in 2015. A couple of other journal articles that looked at the impact of GLOBE on Canadian students in Northern Canada. Pedagogy of Place, promoting relational knowledge in science teacher education. That looked at how that can be incorporated within teacher education programs. The other was looking at the impact GLOBE program has on students within a grade 9 to grade 11 program, and followed them for up to 22 years into their adult life, and identified the impact this type of program has on not only career choices, but then also volunteering in their community, what was defined as ethical responsibility regarding citizenship. We have another article, Connected Climate Change Learning Through Citizen Science and Assessment of Priorities and Needs of Formal and Informal Educators and Community Members in Alaska. And this shows the impacts citizen science has in northern parts of North America. Where can you find our resources? So much of our work is posted on the GLOBE website, www.globe.gov, and we've posted the GLOBE Community Annual Survey, the Teacher Survey one-pager for funders, and also the New Haven surveys. The GLE surveys will be used in SurveyMonkey and completed online, and we will publish those on the website after the Killarney annual meeting in GLE happens in July. How can you communicate with us? And so what we've done is we've provided our communication, our email addresses of the different evaluation working group members from around the world. We're always available to respond to questions. We value input, and this webinar itself will be posted on the website so that you can access this information easily. I think it's very, very important as an evaluation working group, as we have different terms as members on the evaluation group, to identify and thank different members that have contributed to the work over time. Svetlana, Rajaleen, and Tudor, who worked with us on the teacher survey and the annual survey for the community. Tina Cartwright, who was instrumental in working with us on the teacher survey, the annual survey for the community, the one-pager, and the New Haven survey. And so I want to take an opportunity on behalf of the evaluation working group to thank our valued colleagues and members in their work with us. And lastly, Thank you very much for spending the time to go through this webinar. I hope you found it beneficial. And again, I put forward the invitation to connect with us, provide your insight and your experiences as we value your input to improving the Globe experience for all of our members around the world. Thank you.